DoorDash recently made a big announcement that, in my opinion, kind of fell flat. They just bragged about a bunch of new features, many of which that have existed for a while. In this video, we're going to talk about another one of those features, tip after delivery, and discuss if it's a good thing or a bad thing for drivers. What's going on, everybody? I'm Zach Drives Fast for the RideShare Guy, and in this video, we're going to talk about another new DoorDash feature that just got a bunch of media attention, and we're also going to discuss if it's a good thing or a bad thing for drivers. We've all heard the phrase unicorn. It's an order that pays way more than the average order would on DoorDash. However, I'm of the opinion that there's another type of unicorn when it comes to delivery. People who don't tip in the app, but do tip cash in person. I'm probably one of the more opinionated people in this niche, and from time to time, my opinions do piss people off, and sometimes those people happen to be customers. Don't get me wrong, I'm not picking fights with my customers. I'm not sending snarky texts or bitching about the tip amount. I'm talking about customers who find my videos and try to justify to me why my time isn't worth a tip. Some will even go as far as to tell me to get a real job. Keep in mind, this is generally after they justify using the service, but not tipping. Now that we've had an opportunity to talk about entitled customers, let's talk more about this feature and see if it has any upside for us. Take a look at this GIF, and if you call it a GIF, you're wrong. This is what it looks like on the customer's end when they've already tipped you in the app, but you wowed the shit out of them, so their conscience is compelling them to tip you even more. But being is that this experience is generally completely hands-off for our customers, how do we wow the shit out of them? It's not like they're drunk as hell riding shotgun with us while we pick up their order. Me, for example. I'm very hands-off with my customers unless something is going sideways, like every employee in the restaurant decided to take a break at the same time and I'm 10 minutes past my pickup time. In that case, I will text my customers, apologize, and give them an updated ETA. 99% of customers are reasonable about this, and this is generally where my additional tips come from. Some drivers may have a more hands-on approach, like texting their customers when they get to the restaurant and when they're leaving, or sending memes. And while I don't do this, if you do and it's working for you and your ratings reflect it, don't let me tell you any different. So let's get to this new DoorDash feature. Our customers now have the ability to add a tip at any point during the delivery or up to 30 days past delivery. Overall, I think that this is a very positive thing from DoorDash for the drivers, and I wish we could wrap the video up here all hunky-dory and shit, but unfortunately, there's something else that came with this that we still need to talk about. DoorDash just shouted from the rooftops that customers don't have to tip up front. As we all know, this is not new. However, DoorDash just pulled a PR stunt and blasted the media, highlighting this as one of their new features. See, here's the problem with that. If a customer doesn't tip up front in the app, they almost never do in person either. I've actually done that experiment myself. I did this experiment after a conversation with a very misinformed driver in my market, and my results were 0 cash tips. Every single one of those orders ended up being leave it at the door. Non-tipping customers on DoorDash are like keyboard warriors. They'll say anything to you on the internet, but you can't see their face, so they think they're anonymous. But I digress. The thing that pisses me off is DoorDash just played into the I'll tip you in person fallacy. Sure, there will be a small handful of customers who do tip you in person, but from my own personal experience, most are not going to. It's true that tips are optional, but why is it that our compensation is the only optional thing in the financial transaction list? The customer doesn't have the option to pay the restaurant after the order is delivered. DoorDash's fees are not negotiable, and they are definitely going to get their cut. So why is it that our pay is the only one that isn't explicitly required? We all have skin in the game. The raw ingredients that the restaurant used to prepare the meal cost them money. The servers that the DoorDash platforms run on sure aren't cheap. And of course, they have to pay support. But we as drivers use our own vehicles and incur 100% of our own expenses. But yet reasonable compensation is only optional for us? I can't speak for you and I don't know your market, but I would assume most drivers can deliver between 2 and 3 orders an hour. I also happen to know that most markets have a $2.50 base pay. That's only $5 to $7.50 an hour that's actually guaranteed to the driver, assuming it's busy. This is before our gas and other expenses that we incur, not to mention taxes. But sure, let's scream it from the rooftops that they can tip the driver after. I'm particularly passionate about this subject because I've heard even drivers spread the fallacy that customers tip in cash when they don't tip in the app. Sure, Maybe 1 in 20 might, but you're going to get screwed more than rewarded. I used to work in a casino, and I can't even begin to count the number of conversations that I was either in or overheard where one of our regulars was bragging about winning 20 or 30 grand. The problem is, they were never forthcoming with the losses. They would only offer up what they just won. They didn't just win 20 grand. They're just in the hole $20,000 less. It's the same thing with our cars. If you're taking bad orders, you might end up making 50 cents a mile or less. At the end of the day, our cars don't care how much we earn per mile. They're going to break down when they're going to break down. All right, rant aside, I want to turn it back to DoorDash. From a business perspective, I understand why they're trying to appeal to everybody. But from a driver's perspective, I have a counter argument. We've all seen those videos on the internet or even played on the news allegedly showing a driver doing something very unethical. DoorDash has the lowest barrier to entry of just about any app out there, and as long as you're not a felon or on some list somewhere, you're probably qualified to drive for them. And don't get me wrong, the vast majority of drivers are good, honest people. But that low barrier to entry is why videos like those exist. Maybe, just maybe, instead of relying on high turnover and uneducated drivers to get bad orders delivered, maybe they should figure out a way to make the current good drivers happy so we don't feel the need to look elsewhere. But telling customers that they do not need to tip up front is not how they are going to achieve that. I strongly believe that DoorDash is trying to slowly tiptoe in the realm of no tipping at all, or at the very least, normalize the idea of taking no tip orders. That's the reason that you can't dash now whenever you want and programs like Earn by Time exist. Almost every perceived perk that DoorDash offers comes with an acceptance rate requirement. Why is that? It's the only way that they're going to get bad orders delivered. Here's a wild idea, something that I don't even know that I would fully support, but it's a different idea. If they do want to eliminate tipping, then perhaps they should just pay us a reasonable amount per mile. DoorDash is the only one of the big three that doesn't charge customers for mileage. At least in most cases. Considering the fact that mileage is calculated into the cost that Grubhub and Uber Eats customers pay, DoorDash wouldn't lose any market share by implementing the same thing. Let's say our base pay was $2.50 and we were getting paid $1 per mile. We'd never see an order less than $1 a mile, and the customer wouldn't be getting a better deal elsewhere. This would also eliminate the need for hiding information from us. Depending on gas prices, I really don't mind driving an order 15 miles away if I was going to make a reasonable amount of money and it left me in a good area. But would DoorDash ever do something like this? Probably not. See, here's the thing about DoorDash. In my opinion, they hate transparency, both for the driver and for the customer. And that's another fee that they would have to explain. DoorDash doesn't want the customer to know how much they pay us per order. Hell no, not with fees that high. Rather than just being transparent with the customers about where their money is actually going, they're entertaining the fallacy that customers are going to tip us after the delivery is complete, all to avoid sticker shock. All right, I'm going to wrap this video up, but before I do, I'd like to remind you of a couple of things. Considering the fact that we're performing a guaranteed service and we're using our own cars and gas, it is perfectly reasonable to expect upfront compensation. Do not take no-tip orders. It's a gamble and it's almost always a losing bet. Earn by Time might sound enticing, but that program exists so they don't have to bonus low or no-tip orders, and believe me, you will be the first one to get those. It doesn't exist to reward us, it exists to serve them. This industry is fluid and they are always trying to get one over on the driver. I will never normalize less transparency or taking no-tip orders. We are not employees and we're damn sure not a charity. Don't gamble with your money. If they didn't tip up front, they probably won't after either. If you haven't done so yet, please do consider pressing the like button and subscribing to the RideShare Guy. You can catch my videos here every Tuesday. If this video resonated with you, check out this one next. I'm Zach Drives Fast for the RideShare Guy. Take care.